got to start doing it.
Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for another day you bless us with. We thank you for our county and our friends and neighbors. And Father, we just pray for the commission tonight as we make decisions. It'd be what's best for Henry County. We pray for our military, our men and women that's fighting for our freedom, that we might stand here tonight. And we just pray for our Sheriff's Department, our policemen in the city of Clewiston, and our EMS and fire department as they risk their lives to protect us and our county. Just be with us. We'll go through this night. Give each one safety as they travel home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
This is a regular meeting of the Hendry County Board of County Commissioners being held on Tuesday, April 9th, 2019 at 5 p.m. in the City Commission Chambers in Clewiston, Florida. In attendance are Chairman Mitchell Wills, Vice Chair Emma Bird, Commissioner Darrell Harris, Commissioner Michael Swindle, Commissioner Carson Turner, County Administrator Jennifer Davis, County Attorney Mark Lapp, Deputy Clerk Anita Bichelle.
Thank you, ma'am. As we get started tonight, if you remember the public and you wish to speak tonight, if you would, grab a card, fill it out, and give it to Ms. Bichelle, and she'll make sure to get you there. So as we get going, the first thing on the agenda tonight is bids. It's under bids number 2019-12.
Mr. Chair, did everybody have a chance to review that information that was sent to us?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to lean on Commissioner Harris to make a decision for us on it.
I move to accept the low bid.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You got anything, Shane?
I want to clarify, that did include accept a low bid from Oak, authorized staff.
Pull the mic up, Shane.
Contracts.
Mike?
That did include accept a low bid from Oak and authorize staff to prepare a contract with Oak, subject to county attorney and FDOT approval, and then authorize the chairman to execute or the vice chair once the JP's executed.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
what the motion
Just want to make sure.
said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next one's bids 2019-07.
Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation to approve the Thomas Marine contract that was presented on the repairs to the bridge at Everglades.
I'll second the motion.
We got a motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Swindle. Is there any further discussion concerning this?
Yeah, it's just it's frustrating to see those numbers come in that way, knowing that if we could lower those water levels, but with the interest that are around there, if we were to try to do that, it would make people go crazy. So I understand why we have to do that, but it is what it is. So I get it. Thank you for the education on that too, Shane.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. It's going to bring us to the consent agenda. We have two items that we pulled. We pulled C3 from the agenda, and we pulled F2 for discussion. So we can get a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda, pulling 3 and F1, 2. And what about F1?
No, sir, just F2. That's
Okay.
Second the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Turner. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Are we not going to discuss C3?
We're gonna. Actually, it was pulled for a later date, is what I was told.
It's
Is that
not,
correct?
I'm sorry, it's not needed. We thought we needed to correct it, and we
Everything's
do
good.
not,
Okay.
so we're good.
Okay.
So we're going to discuss F3 now. F2, I'm sorry, yes.
Mr. Chair, my question was, and I don't know if I should direct it to Ms. Papanova, but I'm going to talk to Ms. Davis. Jennifer, the mitigation grant that is being awarded from the federal partners that are working with us, I guess it's for Florida Division and federally funded. It looks like it's a generator and some repairs to the roof or hardening of the roof. My question is, when we look at those numbers, I didn't see. Did anybody see a KW number in there for that generator? I didn't. Is this just a preliminary number, or what are we doing here? Because I think it's $269K, that's not going to get us very far in buying and hooking up and all of that stuff. But I wanted y'all's thoughts on it if anybody had an opinion.
So this was Dr. Pepe's request.
Okay.
Through HMGP, I believe, grant for this. So this is what he felt that would run that facility. We can get some more detailed information for you, and I believe it was some window hardening
Yeah.
of the windows as well.
Did y'all see a KW number in there for?
That Shane? It's hardening of the windows, right?
It's hard. So I guess it's making them hurricane-proof windows.
This is the health department, LaBelle?
For the record, Shane Parker, County Engineer. If you remember a while back, we approved a change order where the county was going to pay for the new windows and storefront glass, and that's what the county was going to. The county did that, and the health department was going to pay for it. But if Dr. Pepe got the grant, then he was going to use that money he was going to get for the windows to leverage toward the grant so he could get the generators. But he was able to get the grant, so now Christelle will not be doing the windows. Whoever's doing this, generators and windows, whoever we select for that will handle that.
Okay, so I'm not seeing in there though, because all I see is 269K.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the generators because I wasn't part of that.
It's not in there though, right? I don't see it. I don't think there's generators that have been acquired. The point I'm making is that I'm just, using my gray matter and thinking the KW that are going to be associated with that facility, and I don't know if it's both health departments or just the LaBelle.
Both.
It's both, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that happening for 269K if we're not taking an existing generator and wiring it up.
Right.
I'll be shocked if we get it at that number. But anyway, I just wanted to make people cognizant of that. And so it looks like we're getting 269K to look at the process and put it towards that. It could be a situation where the county's going to have to come out more money, or maybe the health department's going to have to find it. That's it. I just wanted to make us aware. That's all.
We'll find out the
Okay.
specifics.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the acceptance of that grant, and then from there, get more information, please, if we could, from the health department.
I'll second the motion.
Then the balance would come from the county or the health department.
Or maybe the state. There's no telling, I would assume, at this point.
Okay.
We'll bring it back. That'll come back before you.
And one clarification, there's still some language concerns. I reviewed it, but I had some comments to staff about the wording of the grant agreement, and we're still working through those with DEM. So I just asked that the motion be subject to further review and revision as approved by me.
I make the amendment to the motion to accept that language.
And second.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Swindle. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That's going to bring us to the awards and appearances. We have two tonight. We have two proclamations. The first one is a proclamation for Provider Appreciation Day. Do we have someone here for that? Would you come up? Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Block, I think they would actually want you to go to
Yes,
there.
ma'am. If you would come over
read
and just,
from there.
yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I should have been a little more clear on that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Susan Block from the Early Learning Coalition of Southwest Florida, proud to serve Hendry County.
Well, thank you, ma'am. We have a proclamation we're going to read into the minutes tonight. This is a County of Hendry, State of Florida proclamation. Proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County, Florida, honoring the life and legacy. I'm on the wrong one. I'm going to hit Miss Thomas next. I was on the wrong one. I apologize. Actually, they're the same, Rhea.
Maybe you don't have.
Have you got another one there?
Right here.
I got it, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, because I've got two of the same ones.
Right there, boss.
There you go.
Thank you.
We could just fake it for the picture.
Well, you know, I
Read that.
thought maybe it was me, but thank you, Lord. Okay. Now, let's start again. A resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County proclaiming May 10th, 2019 Provider Appreciation Day. Whereas the future of our state depends on quality of early childhood experiences provided to our young children, and whereas of the 1.3 million children under the age of 6 in Florida, approximately two-thirds of them are in some form of child care, at least part-time. And whereas quality child care facilities and providers help ensure the well-being and the success of our children throughout the Florida, and whereas the 2019 observance of Provider Appreciation Day calls the attention to the importance of high-quality child care services while honoring providers for their dedication to our children. Now, therefore, be it so resolved by the County Commissioners of Hendry County, Florida, that we do hereby proclaim May 10th, 2019, Provider Appreciation Day. encourage all Hendry County residents to recognize the positive impact of quality child care services in the development of young children in Hendry County. Duly considered and adopted by the County Board of County Commissioners this day, the 9th day of April, 2019. And we do appreciate all that you do for our children. That is our future. And they are overlooked so much. So we do appreciate all that's put into our children every day. And it makes a big difference in their life. If we can reach them when they're young, we can really make a big difference in their life. So we appreciate that. We'd like to, I don't have the actual one, but if we could just have you come up with us and.
Sure.
You want to come down front?
We probably should go down there, maybe.
Yeah.
Just,
We'll let
yeah.
you walk by.
Come right around here and then we'll get a picture with that, yeah. Lord Jesus, hot, man. It's hot.
It is a wee bit. I think Mr. Reddish snuck in and turned the thermostat up.
Ernie's back again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get that to you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Block, anything to add?
Future commissioners are now in preschool. There's a little one in the back. You never know, maybe the city mayor.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to brag on Ms. Block as she's heading back to her seat. It's probably been 4 years ago now, Ms. Block, that we had, as you all know, I have a tendency to get a little spirited in discussion. And Ms. Block and I worked hand in glove together with a number of other business leaders and civic-minded people in the community on the Education Improvement Task Force. The Early Learning Coalition had provided us some numbers that I vehemently disagreed with regards to our 4-year-old or VPK population being engaged at the percentage thereof throughout the population of the county. Ms. Block very nicely said, Commissioner, I appreciate you, and with all due respect, you're challenging these numbers, but where do you get your data from? And I explained to her how I backed into it. She said, man, kind of seems logical. Ms. Block took it upon herself to go back to check the numbers that I provided, came back to the next month's meeting, said, Commissioner, you were right. We have some discrepancies in our numbers, but I'm going to make a commitment to you that we are going to work with Hendry County and the providers, and we're going to increase these numbers. We're going to do our part to make a difference. And Ms. Block, you've stood by that. You've done that. It's been impressive to work with you. You have said that there have been failings in the system. You don't make any excuses. You say we have a problem. We're going to address it. We're going to dive in right there. You never tell me that everything is wonderful and the sky is just rosy and all of those things. You say we have to roll up our sleeves and get to work, and I appreciate you for doing that. So thank you so much, and I'm glad we could recognize you tonight. So
And I appreciate the work of the task force.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, now for Ms. Thomas. Got some young ladies kind of come in. Okay, we go. Yes, sir. This next proclamation is going to recognize Ms. Thomas. It's a proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County honoring the life and legacy of Florida B. Thomas for her many years of selfless, dedicated service to her community and the citizens of Hendry County. Whereas an individual may stand out during a lifetime due to contributions to their community and needs of others, whereas such an individual was Florida Bryant Thomas, born in Tallahassee, Florida on January 23, 1938. Whereas after graduating from Florida A&M University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Library Science, she received a Master's degree in Administration and Supervision before becoming the first librarian at the Harlem Academy. And whereas Ms. Thomas was the first black librarian within the integrated school system, was named Children Intermediate School Teacher of the Year. 1987 received the Hendry County Schools Golden Apple Heritage Award. In 2019, Ms. Thomas was served at the Greater Friendship Missionary Baptist Church for 59 years as choir member and held administrative positions as Secretary and Finance Committee. Whereas Florida Thomas also served her community as a devoted member of the Order of Eastern Star Fraternity. And whereas after 40 years with the Hendry County School District, Florida Thomas retired in 2000, then volunteered her expertise and service for 1 year to bring the Harlem Library back to the Harlem community, where she worked until she retired again in 2014. Whereas this day, the Harlem Library remains the hub of that community, and in May 2017, the Harlem Community Library was amply renamed the Florida B. Thomas Library to recognize and honor the lasting impact she has had on so many lives in Harlem and surrounding communities. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County that Florida Bryant Thomas is hereby recorded this memorial of her board's great respect, esteem, and appreciation for her lifetime of contributions to the citizens of Harlan, Hendry County, and acknowledges the extraordinary commitment, dedication, and involvement that Florida Bryant Thomas brought to her community and the positive impact she had with everything with which she was involved. Be it further proclaimed that the chairman, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County, does hereby express its sincere condolences, sympathy to the family of Florida Bryant Thomas for the loss of a beloved and devoted family member. Duly considered and adopted by the Board of County Commissioners this day, the 9th day of April 2019. I was very fortunate enough to have met Ms. Thomas and worked with her for many years, and she was such an amazing lady. I watched her go beyond many times the scope of anything that just about anyone would have done. So she was a very amazing lady. I was fortunate enough to be at the school board's Golden Apple Awards this year, and she received an award that night. So we do want you to know how much we appreciate all that she's done for Hendry County. The students, there's students that have students now that she touched their lives. So we do appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
So we'd like to give this to you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I don't. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you all so much.
Thank
We
you for being
appreciate
here.
it.
Thank you.
They do, actually. I think they would probably give it to one. I don't think they would do a lot. But they keep copying the same old. Okay, that brings us to public hearings. There's nothing this month. Next month, don't miss it. It's going to be a good one. Under action for correspondence, nothing. Under FYI, we have the department activity report. Ms. Embledge, does anybody have any questions for her on that? Nope.
I looked it over, and it's quite impressive when you look at it. I mean, it's a great job, and the numbers keep climbing.
Man, remember when we were months
Yeah,
with nothing?
we used to have zeros.
Economy's an
And
amazing thing.
I know the last, when we had that meeting, at Port LaBelle, we're talking about just Port LaBelle. For 1 year and 1 year, 2 years maybe, 1 year, and 3 months. Anyways, 253 new homes in Port LaBelle in that short time. Wow. And
How many, boss?
253. And used to they'd build 2 or 3, and we thought, man, boy, they really going to town out
Bunch
there.
this year, yeah.
They are building, that's for sure. Okay, that's going to bring us to staff reports. Ms. Davis?
The first item is for Shane.
For the record, Shane Parker, County Engineer. Commissioners, I have several pieces of equipment that I'd like to purchase. I can go through the staff report in detail if you want me to, but I have option 1 has.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
option 1 is what you're wanting, Shane. So I would go with option 1 to proceed with the lease purchase of the skid steer. That's what you're looking for, using the Sheriff's Association contract, correct?
I'm looking for A, B, C, D, E, and F.
All those on one.
those.
Yep. So A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Right.
All at one time?
Okay. Then you want to. So you want to do that. Then you want to also buy the 2 zero-turn mowers from Everglades Farm Equipment.
Right. And I've got 2 different sets of zero-turn mowers I
Yes,
want
sir.
to buy. And then I want to declare 2 mowers surplus and trade them in to Everglades Farm Equipment.
Those are going back to help with the offset of the cost.
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
then I want to proceed with the purchase of a tractor edger mower. We got so many sidewalks now, we can't keep up with the edging mowing.
Why
We can
are
also
you
use it on
going with
airports.
John Deere?
Because that's pretty much all our mowers are John Deere's. We have good experience with them.
You didn't talk to Alan?
Alan I think he uses Skaggs. We use JD's. So
I'm gonna stay out of that conversation.
I think Commissioner Harris has stock in Skag.
I think he does too.
Might.
Yeah.
I've got two of them.
You do. I got one.
I wouldn't have nothing else.
I don't. Dole has one.
But Shane's different.
Is that a motion, Commissioner?
I have a Sarlo. Push. Yes, I made that in the form of a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Option 1.
Motion by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Swindle. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Quick question along that. The mower that's sitting on the helicopter pad at Everglades in front of the T hangars.
Yes, sir.
You can have,
It needs to be surplus and moved and gone.
you can
Like
have that one.
scrap metal anchor or something like that needs to happen with that.
Is that Mr. Kenny's tractor?
I don't remember what's on
Was
the.
it? That's been there a while.
It's been there a while. As far as broken in half, it's not going to be used. I can tell you that. No.
Next item I have for you, Chairman, is an interlocal agreement to maintain unpaved roads in the city of LaBelle. Chairman Wills approached me after speaking with the city about concerns about 1.6 miles of shell rock roads in the Ford and Sunset Park area. The city doesn't have the equipment or their operators don't have the knowledge to run it. It's be faster and more efficient for the county to do it.
Mr. Chair, what are y'all's thoughts?
My thought is I like the idea and I think we should do it.
Okay.
If you ever go down there, it's like this.
What has the city been doing for all these years?
Nothing. That's why I was like,
They just been looking at it.
Really? Do they just hire someone to grade it periodically, or?
No, you can't grade
Never.
it.
Well, I think they've
What's-
done some that we've loaned some equipment. I think maybe we went over one time and done it, but
helping them off and on or whatever?
very sparingly.
Very often.
But
talking probably 30 years ago that we went down and we actually did some road work and some ditch work down there.
Good grief.
That's back when I was running equipment of the county, so well over 30 years ago.
But that's the only way we're gonna get it done.
Well, why is
They don't
that?
have the equipment. They don't.
They don't have the equipment and,
Or the operators.
But do they have people that live on those roads?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they have people live on. And they just have to go through like this.
So that just to state it the way it is to make everybody feel uncomfortable. So the county is going to take over the maintenance and operation of a City of LaBelle road, or am I incorrect on that?
No, we're not. We're going to enter an agreement with them. They're going to provide the material. They'll pay for the equipment operator, the equipment itself. It's an agreement where they'll pay us to maintain them, but we are not going to take those roads over.
we're not taking ownership.
Yeah.
They're paying for equipment, labor, material.
So you're going to give them a number.
We're just going to send them an invoice
They'll
bill
get a
like
bill
this is
like
what
everybody
this is
else,
what it
in-house
costs.
billing.
Until they bring them up to a
Bill.
standard.
And then you have the material.
No, they're going to provide the material.
Yeah, but I mean, he has it, don't he?
They're going to pay you for it.
I'm going to buy it from Mr. Ridgeville, and
Yeah.
they're going to pay me
Okay.
back.
Okay.
And then the idea would be we'd do that in a rotation. So
You're
when
going
we
to
go
put it on a schedule.
on a schedule. So when we go from Felda, we'd hit that spot, then we'd run to Murray, Townsend, Wheeler, and just do it again.
There'd be no burden on you and the cost would go to them.
No financial burden on us. Yes, a burden
Little
because we're
time.
taking on a task, but we're going to pave Rodeo Drive, so that's freeing up some mileage of roads.
It's only
But
a mile and a half. You want to talk on
Yeah,
that?
the initial will be the big problem was
That'll
get
be
them
the
set.
one.
Once it's set, then it won't be
Maintaining is
nothing.
done.
No.
Yes, sir.
When you go through and blade a road, there's nothing to it, but
Good. Well, I appreciate y'all clarifying that because all I heard was
No.
us fighting with Mayor Rowland over Francisco, and now we're turning around and doing something in LaBelle that we haven't done here, and
the interlocal agreement
people
would
set
come
their hair on
back to you.
fire.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
yeah.
Approval, and it would spell out that we wouldn't be, we're doing this, but we're not responsible for saying we're assuming maintenance of it.
Right. And then if you wanted to quit, you could probably quit.
Mr. Chair, does the City of LaBelle do they have much roadway that they take care of?
There's quite a bit of roadway through there, but that area has the most unpaved roads in it.
Yeah.
That's left in our side of the county.
They have some paved and some is level. The ones that he's
The
talking
majority of
about,
them are just rock.
they just go like this and you just got to fill them up and grade them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I didn't know that they had a lot of unpaved roads.
There's a lot of stuff there. To be perfectly honest, this is the first time we got them to come to the table.
Yeah, that's
I've
good.
been talking for several years now just to get the conversation started.
Yes, sir.
We finally got it together. We met with one of the city commissioners and their administrator. One of their administrators rode out, looked at the situations, and so they've got to approve this Thursday night. It goes before them Thursday.
That's my understanding.
But the ideal now is we've got them to the table, and we've never been able to do that.
Well, that's good.
And that's part of my district, so I'm trying to get some things done. They're They live in Henry County. They spend tax dollars in Henry County. So I know it's a city, and I know we're not asking you to pave it. We're just asking you to fix it, that's all. So,
Okay. You want to put it in form of motion, Commissioners?
Move on the
Second.
recommendation.
motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Turner. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Parker.
Chairman, the next item I have for you is the Peace Recreation Summer Camp 2019. Ask you to approve an agreement with Sky Family Young Men's Christian Association, aka YMCA.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. Any further discussion on this?
Have we reached out any further yet through Montura, the Central County group? I know the one in Pioneer is usually done by the school, right?
Pioneer's been
Pioneer.
done for the school.
Are they going to do it again this year, do you know?
I do not know that. Do you know?
They have?
Okay.
And has Central County or anybody else reached out and said no interest has been expressed that you're aware of? Okay.
We'll reach out to Central County.
Okay. All right. I know at one point that it's been almost a year, but they asked us to include them or think about them, so I don't know if the conversation was continuing or not, but thank you. And let me know if you need help reaching out to them.
Okay. Do we vote on that? No?
Do we have a motion and a second? Though, right?
We had a motion and a second. We didn't vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Tourism Development, Ms. Hunter.
Mr. Chair, Emily Hunter, Communications and Legislative Coordinator. Following some recent discussions and questions regarding the allowed uses of the tourism development tax, the county administrator asked me and to coordinate with Attorney Lapp to look over the state statute as well as the county ordinance. And so I've provided you all with a comprehensive list of what that looks like, of what those allowed expenditures are.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I want to ask Ms. Hunter, you sent us that budget.
Yes, sir.
A funny question, because I looked at the budget. EVOC is no longer getting paid. So on this cycle that we would be looking at on this current fiscal year, that's a non-starter, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm missing the bottom part.
Do you know our net revenue was it 224? Is that what we took in 16-17, and then 264, or was that what is that just what you all had budgeted? The top left corner number, Jennifer.
224 and 264.
Okay, so that is, and then what we had at the end of the day was that the net of 26,324? That was the cash carry forward number on the final year, 17-18.
Okay, so these are budgets. Nick, correct me if I say anything wrong, Emily. These are budgets, so these are estimates at the 224 and the 264?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct, Emily?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the expenditures were actually actual expenditures that are listed below. And so basically at the end of each page, it's showing the surplus of revenue over expenditures just for that year.
Yes, ma'am.
That's just for that year. So it was 51 and 20,
26.3.
it's going the other way.
Yeah, 26.3 was
26,
the final, right?
yeah.
And 17-18.
Correct.
So what I'm understanding as I review this budget for the 17-18 fiscal was that at the end of the year, after you paid out everybody to what they came and asked for, plus your budgeted amount of running your operations and everything, we had a total of 26,324 that we pushed into the next budget cycle.
Correct.
Okay. And so thank you for giving us this information. And what I'd like to ask of this board is to make a request to the TDC board to find a capital improvement project and throw some serious money at it.
Okay. Well, I'm the chair of the TDC board, and we've had some discussion, and that's what we're in favor of doing, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to pick a project.
Yes,
and
sir.
concentrate on that.
Do you have any idea what y'all are leaning towards right now?
I don't think we need to talk about it tonight,
Okay.
but
Is that a
it'd
secret?
be something good.
Yeah. Oh, boy. I bet it's going to be something on the north side of the river, though. I can tell you that, in Harris's neighborhood.
It's not.
Well,
No, anyway, it'll be something good.
okay. Is it going to be like a fishing tournament on Clusatcha River
No.
with a big billboard?
Yeah, Roland Martin.
Okay. Well, I just think that I don't know how we ever measure the return on investment on the little projects that we do. Let me give a prime example of something that's awesome. The FLW tournaments. If you don't think that there's an economic impact to those things, then you're just living in a vacuum.
That's right.
But then you turn around and you give $5,000 to Florida Junior High School Rodeo, and I can guarantee you there's a net gain on that as well. And the fact that they're coming back for a second date at the LaBelle facility, that's going to be huge. Mm-hmm. I talked with Emily today. I do want to know if they are paying for a hookup, because I think that we need to be asking them for a nominal hookup charge, and that's something that can go directly back into Ramiro and the West Rex budget to do capital improvement upgrades at that facility. Because it's a nominal figure. You're not going to pay $25 to stay at a hotel anywhere. No. And if you're coming to a rodeo and you're hauling horses and you're feeding them and all that stuff, you can stand another $25 towards it, especially if we're pitching it to them to say, this is going directly back into that facility, so please be mindful of a county that's strapped fiscally. But I look at all of these, and I just think that when I go to different facilities, I'll tell you the one that's really jumping out of my mind is Kane Field and the Clueston High School track. And knowing that Ms. Bird, when I was a senior in high school in 1995, we had a track meet that brought in probably 45 to 50 teams and was ran from 2:45 in the afternoon to about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And yeah, it was an economic impact, but more importantly, there was a herd of humans that were utilizing that facility. And today, we can't host an event like that. And I know we always get caught up in the Clueston versus LaBelle, and you have to do one. If you do one, you got to do for the other. But I really want to look at that, and I think that we need to minimize that impact as much as possible. Case in point is look at the dollars that the city of LaBelle got on their boater improvement grant fund tonight, and that's awesome. You look at what they're doing, but if we start dividing that up and saying, oh, we got to take 13 and give it to Clueston and 13 and give it to LaBelle, and that's the right thing to do, I think we're stopping somebody from doing something that's formidable. So I really want to challenge you all at the TDC to hoard those dollars for a year or so, or maybe a year or two, and look at what your first or second or third big cash cows are from a return on investment that we know. But then let's try to double down on something and do something that's really tangible that we can all feel. Right. Because when we look at what we can legally do with those dollars, and I think that these are the types of things. I mean, quality of life. You're talking about a big blue rubber track that goes around Kane Field Stadium, or doing the same thing over in LaBelle a year from now, and we protect that, and we get the right warranty on it or something. That's a gift that's going to continue to give. And maybe it's not that. Maybe we double down on the John Boy Auditorium, and we spend $250,000 there because we put back for 2 years. But I just think we need to start looking at that from a 50,000 foot level instead of just 10 here, 20 here, 5 here, 5 here, because we don't have a lot of funding sources for things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's my soapbox. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We've tried a lot, and
yeah. Well,
a lot don't work.
And the reality is, Commissioner, is that we have a staff of one that's charged with doing that. Before her, the other staff of one was Ms. Papinal, and they do a yeoman's job of setting the agenda, getting all the information to you all. But your ability to record that return on investment is very difficult. And so I think that there's some capital projects that could be very well had. And it's legal use of the dollars and cents.
Clearly, yeah.
Did they ever get their money for John Boy?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
LaBelle has not. No.
Yeah.
And those upgrades at the LaBelle Civic Center are nice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That bathroom is head and shoulders above where it was.
Yeah, part of that's we give them 50, and then the rest of it they're doing on their own.
Yeah.
But they're redoing the whole kitchen, everything.
But we were a help in that. No, yeah. Let me rephrase that. The tourism dollars were a help in that, and yes, we were a catalyst to push that out and make it happen, And I think, I'd love to see a little bit more money spent on the audiovisual aspects at the John Boy Auditorium, but I still think it's better, at least when we do hold a meeting there now, you can hear people if there are an audience in the stands or in the seats. The last thing I asked today, Ms. Hunter and Ms. Davis, was just an audit update of our hoteliers. I know that we did that. I can't remember how many years ago when I was the chair of the TDC, and in my opinion, we saw an increase in the net effect. The Florida has that tool. Ms. Papinal, knows about all that. And so I hope that y'all can look into that and give us an update on that as well. So.
Hey, anybody more questions? Thank you, Ms. Hunter. Mr. Lapp?
Nothing,
Nothing.
nothing to report.
Okay. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak at this time? None? Okay. Commissioner Swindle, business by district?
Business by district, sure. I would like to start by saying I'm glad Mr. Harris didn't embarrass us tonight. My parents are here. That's always handy. I want to take this opportunity to make a few statements and wrap it up with a nice announcement, hopefully. I started 5.5 years ago with my path of commissioner as Hendry County Commissioner. It's been a phenomenal journey, the ability to watch this county come out of an economic time that was trying for America and the state. And I think that we're flourishing today, head and shoulders above where we were. As I talk to our fellow colleagues around the state and the commission, it's obvious to me that we have a unique board that we don't always agree. We don't always see eye to eye, but we always shake hands and hug and say, I love you, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And I think that's pretty special. And our ability to work for the constituents of Hendry County has really shown, I believe. I don't think we're perfect. I think we got a lot of quirky things that go on, but that's just part of what makes us unique as well. We wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for the great staff that we have. The staff in Hendry County is phenomenal, second to none. I've been honored to work with, learn from, be a part of, and I hope that the footprint that I've brought to the table in the last 5.5 years has been positive. Tonight, I'd like to take this opportunity to inform the public and to inform my fellow board members that as of November of 2020, I'll be resigning from commission. So it gives me about 18 or so months to stay in your presence and to continue the legacy of whatever we leave. It's been a phenomenal opportunity. I've learned from it, and I look forward to continuing. And I am pleased to announce that I'm giving plenty of resignation time to allow Ms. Hoots and her staff to do whatever legally has to happen. That's 2 years short on the election cycle, so that gives time for Ms. Hoots and the elections process to figure out, will this position be on the election cycle ballot? Will it be a gubernatorial appointee? That gives them plenty of time to figure that out. I'm very excited to announce that the reason for the resignation is because effective immediately, I would like to announce that I'm going to be a superintendent for Hendry County Schools. My love and passion, my training, my education as a teacher. I've been involved with the education system for north of 20 years now. The footprint that I've brought to workforce development has grown and hopefully serves as an example of engaging the process and what can happen when proactive, positive leadership takes a hold. So I look forward to bringing that same stance to Hendry County Schools, and I look forward to the path of the campaign path takes me down, and the conversations and the folks that we meet along the way, the conversations that lead into a better school system for the years to come. Just like Ms. Block said, these are our future commissioners and mayors and the leaders. And so I look forward to doing my part to make that happen. If anyone has any questions, conversations, or anything they would like to add or talk about, I look forward to that. And again, I look forward to being a formidable candidate for superintendent of schools. So thank you for your time. That's all.
Well, Commissioner Swindle, I can tell you it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve with you on the board. I have learned a lot from you. Your professionalism and your excellence that you do things it's been a pleasure to be a witness to. So thank you, and I think you'll make an amazing superintendent. So I just want to say thank you again, and God bless you.
Thank you. Appreciate you saying so.
Anyone else like to speak to that?
I look forward to aggravating the fool out of you in this process.
Continuing aggravating the fool out of you.
Exactly right. Let the data drive the discussion.
Yep, I agree.
And I'll talk to you privately.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Of course.
Got any?
I just want to say I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you. You've been a great big asset to me, so I appreciate you. I'm going to appreciate you even more.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Byrd, business?
Boy, you took me for a loop there, but anyway. I want to thank the Sheriff's Department. We've been doing a GAP program in the community maybe about 3 or 4 times, and it's been awesome. the young people really engaged in it, so I want to appreciate the Sheriff's Department for working with me, making these things happen. We also getting ready to go back doing Prevent Crime in the Black Community to cause our children to learn even more about society and how to operate in society and to learn. So I appreciate that, even also with the Sheriff's Department. We also getting ready for Brown Sugar. Pray for safety, pray for love, pray for peace. Be with us. Come out and get you something to eat. If you don't know, I found out everybody don't know how to cook collard greens. Come on and get you some collard greens. But looking forward to that time, so thank you.
Pray the truck don't break down, Mr.
We
Harris.
got the truck ready.
It's not going to break
No,
down.
the truck's ready.
It's the
Truck's ready.
We rode all the way through and never had a
Right.
problem. Run
That's
great.
right.
I know he gonna big time us here for it
Every
too.
time I get on it, it breaks.
Well, you might need to get on the hood.
Yeah.
Mr. Harris?
Anyway, Shane, just follow up on Cowboy Way. We had a gentleman got killed there. And the speed limit, we've talked about everything else. Just check on the speed and maybe some more white paint on the road there. And y'all know what this is?
New trend?
Transgender.
There's another one. Put your hand up. There, Brenda Hoots got one
Oh.
out there. You want to tell them what this is, Mark?
This is Child Abuse Awareness Month, April is. And so Mr. Harris, Ms. Hoots, and me are in the Rotary Club of LaBelle, and our speaker today was from the Children's Network of Southwest Florida. Is that?
And
And so she talked about that, and that's to remember that one person can make a difference about child abuse.
I think it's 1 in 5 is
Yeah.
abused. Can you believe that? 1 in 5. And there's 140 cases in Henry County.
How many?
140
Current.
current. Mr. Turner.
That statistic is probably low,
Yeah.
and
It's just what they know about it.
and the percentage of abuse that occurs by a family member is astronomically high. I think it's approaching 70%. You know, so
Yeah.
it's frightening. A handful of things. Our January 22nd meeting, we had a presentation by Alan Mandel that none of us were receptive to continuing with that Goodwills program. Ms. Davis, I don't think that you've had any time, and please, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but have you been able to give any consideration to? I think the way it is right now is that the county is paid up for Goodwills for the year, right?
Correct.
And so we're probably not even going to worry about looking at a program per se until the following fiscal, or what are your thoughts?
We're planning on applying for funds by the end of this calendar year because that's the deadline in December.
Okay.
But it's for the following, so it'd be 2021, I believe, would be the year that those funds, if we were awarded, would go towards. So for
Via the state, not federal.
via the state,
Okay.
correct. And so we're trying to figure out potentially maybe a step forward for next fiscal year, something in between to bridge the gap, because the gap seems like it keeps growing and growing and growing in terms of services that are being provided for our constituents. And so we don't have it all figured out as of now, but we do have we have our own budget, we have our own transportation budget, and Shane and I haven't talked about that yet, but I wanted to look at that and see what we might be able to do, see if we couldn't find some other partners. We've had a few other meetings with Community Foundation and some folks like that who might be able to have some funds, just trying to think out of the box and other ways to potentially fund this issue.
You know, we get not to cut you off, but we got around $275,000 awarded to District 1, I believe, as an entirety, not just to Hendry County from District 1. And that was nothing from District 4, which is West Palm, Martin, all them, or Miami-Dade, which is Broward, Broward and Miami-Dade, which is District 6, I mean. And I know that there was a time when they were putting money into our kitty as well. So I would like for us to entertain engaging that discussion as well. But I know that that's a big effort.
Right.
It's a big effort, and so
Now, are they up in December? Goodwills. Are they up in December, their contract?
Well, they have a contract with the TPO, and I think it's coming up as far as to designate the CTC, I think
the
is what
Community
it's called.
Transportation Coordinator.
Right. And so there's a couple different steps that you have to you have to appoint or you have to elect, or the CTC for the area, and then the CTC is then eligible for these various different grant funds. And so it's a several step process in order to.
So when would they be? Would it be through 20 that they would go through?
I think, Mr. Harris, your question is Goodwill's going to operate through 20?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I think they're going to operate actually through the remaining of the fiscal of 2019. So that takes them to an October date, but are they going to actually operate calendar of 2019 all the way into 2020?
I believe so.
Okay. And obviously we would queue them up for another 45 grand roughly, and they would probably do what they're doing now.
Right.
But I think that our whole ask is that we want to see that level of service increased.
Right.
And so, just looking at the different pots of money that are out there, I think that it's something that we ought to delve into. I spent a fair amount of time. I'm fortunate enough to be in Okeechobee County. We now have a pretty large construction project that's going on up there with South Florida Water Management District and Positive Mobility Transport, who used to be our ambulance provider at the hospital. And I know that's probably puts a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths. But I believe they are the community transportation coordinator for Okeechobee County. And I know that our demographics are a little bit different, but I look at how many times I see their vans. They have that small van, or they have the same type of vehicle that mirrors what Goodwill's has here, that kind of bus-looking thing that has the handicap accessibility on the back. And I see those things, and I see them with a lot of people. And I know I'm just basing that off, once again, anecdotal, riding by and seeing. But goodness, it has a much better taste in my mouth than what I see with Goodwills and the massive vans going and one person in them all the time.
So where's that funding from?
That funding is the same. I think it's 5311 from the Florida Department of Transportation. And then I think that they're a member of the Heartland Transportation. It's the TPO. And so in doing that, they have essentially first right of refusal to be the community transportation coordinator.
But it's run by the county.
If the county provides the funding, they hire up a vendor, but their vendor's a little bit different. And what I'm saying, and then also I believe, and I don't know, I believe Ms. Davis is going to confirm this. I believe that Robbie, her counterpart in Okeechobee County, also has a handful of vans and different buses that the county owns outright that does the same thing. So there's an overlapping of services. But I don't know that. I can't confirm that, but I know that we can look into that as time goes on. And we have a little bit of time. But I still am getting calls from people that are frustrated. One thing that Mr. Mandel said that I thought was very good was that he said, he's willing to help us in any of that and stepping through, and he hopes that we would be successful. But he also said there was going to be a meeting in Glades County. Did that meeting occur wherever there was?
The 24th, I want to believe.
Okay.
24th.
Of April, Ms. Bird? Okay. And so DOT is going to have strong representation there, I would presume, and we're going to get a little bit more educated that day as well. Okay, good. I think it's something that we ought to look into, and I think it's something that we can really bring a better level of service. I look at Mike's program as the adult school director, and imagine if you had. I know that transportation is an issue, and imagine if you had a bus stop that was out in front of United States Sugar Corporation that was taking some of their laborers or D&J Machinery, and I don't know where that hub would be at in LaBelle, and people knew that they could get off of work and then roll right into, and there was going to be a bus there at time certain that could take them to a facility where they could get another certification. I think that's moving the needle. And I know that the Southwest Florida Community Foundation would be all about trying to sponsor something like that, along with a number of other pots of money.
They gave us a few other ideas. We talked about this project specifically. I won't get into it right now, but they gave us a few other ideas of what some other areas do or what other cities or counties do, and some partnerships that probably we wouldn't have thought of on our own. And so we're looking into some of those options.
They being the
as well.
Community Foundation?
What about DeSoto County?
They have what they call a DeSoto DART, and so they basically operate that.
And that's funded by the state?
And they basically applied for some of these same funds, 5311. I think they applied to the Shirley Conway grant funds directly to get their buses. I can tell you, I've been looking into other counties, as some of you suggested, see if we could get some donated buses from some of these larger counties that aren't, they're using them surplus. Haven't found anything yet, but we're looking just to kind of get us going, and then because we need to get going, and then once we get going and we could apply, because we have a timing issue for funding, and so we're trying to come up with some.
Ms. Bird, you need to make a call to the mayor of Palm Beach County, Mac Bernard. You need to talk to him about your constituency base and what you're doing with Marlon Vaughn and Project Hope and all those different things. And I'm telling you, Palm Beach County is going to have a van that's going to meet this need. I could be wrong, but I'm telling you, I just got a feeling in my bones, Miss Bird.
Not because you asked not.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
That's it.
Tomorrow?
Well,
That would be good, because we did look specifically for Palm Beach County for the thrift store online that you're talking about. They just had an auction a few weeks ago, and I didn't see anything. We also sent it out to our other department heads and had EMS and some of the other people looking at.
our sheriff did that. Our sheriff did that, and he got I don't know how many ag 4-wheel drive trucks, and I don't know if they were outfitted or what, but I mean, there was pennies on the dollar when you break it down. And you know, we can't fathom their budget, you all. And so when they have 35 vehicles that rotate off of a lease, and they're taking them to the Palm Beach County thrift store once or twice a year, what's it going to hurt for them to give one of their sister or brother counties?
They don't mind.
They don't mind.
What about Collier County?
I haven't looked
They're
directly into
rolling in
Collier.
money.
Who do we know down there?
Charles.
Hey, that's a good idea, Commissioner.
Charles.
Think about it.
Might know someone.
Good thing.
So we are looking at those different options.
You know
to
what
try
we
to-
need more? We need more vans and buses.
I don't disagree with you.
You pull up there and you put 3 people on a bus, why couldn't you put them on a van?
Yes, sir.
And have more than one size van?
Yes, sir. But I just want to start with one.
That's what I
Maybe
mean,
2. Yeah.
But,
You know.
because like we talked about, I sent you a picture one day, they're riding around.
Oh, yes,
empty
sir. You did. I remember that. Yes, sir.
Everywhere they go.
Yep. Yep.
I'm sure people ride them.
Yep. I wanted to remind everybody about the meeting around the lake. Ms. Davis, is that the 7th of May?
It is for
It's not time certain yet.
6 o'clock.
Oh, it's 6 p.m. Wonderful.
And it'll be at one of the auditoriums. I believe it's the high school in Okeechobee, but we'll send out the direct address to everyone later this week. And so everyone's confirmed. It took a little bit of doing to get everybody's schedules synced up, but we're excited. May 7th, 6 o'clock in Okeechobee. And then following that meeting, there's already been some discussion about having another meeting and having it, maybe on the southern tip as you all discussed earlier from some of the other counties. So you can
I just think,
discuss that.
and just to remind everyone, the whole gist of that meeting is for us to galvanize our efforts around Lake Okeechobee and all the communities involved of saying a 10.5-foot lake and the lake being driven to a 10.5-foot lake or below is essentially a non-starter. We can't allow for that to happen. And, the Corps is continuing to move forward with their process, but we have to be mindful of that and stop it in every way, shape, or form because it's detrimental to so many different aspects on the lake. And
They're
so-
not still pushing for that.
Yes, sir. There is a congressman that is absolutely pushing for that. I will say, in my opinion, that Governor DeSantis I think he's backed off a little bit. I think the science has gotten to him, and people have said it really doesn't seem that logical of an approach. But at the same time, I don't want to speak too comfortably and say, oh, there is no pressure because we don't really know. The governing board that Governor DeSantis chose was all confirmed today by the Senate committee. And Noah Valenstein, who we have a really good relationship with, was confirmed as well at the Senate, the director of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. So the secretary of the DEP. So that's really good for us. Because now we know exactly what deck of cards we're dealing with and how we can start building those relationships. Chauncey Goss from Sanibel is the chair of the South Florida Water Management District Board. So
He's good.
he's pretty good. The Southwest Florida Community Foundation. I just want to brag on that man down there again. You getting that $49,000 check. Is really it seems like a big number, and everybody gets fired up about hard cash. But if we knew what the community foundation did in our community since they're I would say probably a 6-7 year time frame ago, and with Miss Sarah Owens and Tessa Lesage driving a lot of different conversations and challenging us as a region, because they really jump in the canoe with Glades County and paddle in the same direction as well. And in my opinion, they've fought the good fight for quite some time now. I think that we need to embrace them in every way, shape, or form that we can. Just looking at the EDC alone, that office, they probably put $14,000 in hard software and hardware in the bricks and mortars of the EDC building that we have there. They hired an employee that was a hybrid of Clueston High School, LaBelle High School, Clueston High School and the Education Improvement Task Force, and monitoring, the FAFSA numbers and SAT completion and ACT completion and stuff like that. That model didn't really work out that well, but they fronted the cash for that to occur. That was probably a little less than $30,000. They've done this now with Commissioner Swindle. They've challenged so many people, so many young adults to engage in the scholarship application process that they have. And I just think they're the definition of an unsung hero that nobody really knows about in our community, but they do so much for us. And we need to be thankful for them in every way, shape, or form. So I'm proud to be associated with them, and I hope that everybody else will tell them thank you whenever you get the opportunity. I attended another meeting last night for the Pioneer Homeowners Association. I've sent out a number of emails. I actually had already sent an email to Ms. Davis about that particular subject matter prior to that meeting, and then went to it last night and then reinforced a little bit of the issues that were brought up last night. I see Deputy Nelson, Chief Deputy, I'd like to speak with you just a little bit after the meeting tonight. The request that was given to me is to take the conversation of how can the Pioneer community legally ride their four-wheelers around, legally ride their off-highway vehicles side by side. Can the county develop a model where they can license those specifically to the members of that community only, and it would be then legal. There's a number of really good conversation that is occurring out there, and I look forward to moderating a handful of more meetings and trying to get some hard data and hard facts associated with that and bringing that back for this board to hear. I did broach the subject last night of us hosting a meeting out there. I've asked them to give us some dates to come back, and I still want to challenge this board to tell me, first off, are three of y'all receptive to it? I think Commissioner Wills is receptive to it. I'm receptive to it. Anybody else okay with me trying to set up a meeting at Big Cypress Seminole Tribe of Florida? Okay, cool. Ms. Bird, you going to set one up in Harlem? Outstanding. Commissioner Harris, are you going to come to any of these? No? Okay. And then we're going to have one in Pioneer. And then Commissioner Wills, if you'd like to do one in Felda, I think we ought to think about that. I think it would be a good thing. Just take it. We haven't done it in a number of years.
I'll show up if the people's going to show up.
Only if the people are going to show up?
Remember we drove to the Indians?
Wasn't me, boss.
Wasn't one Indian.
It was Bo Pelham.
No Indian showed up.
Wow. He's going to put it out there like that.
We had people drive from Tampa.
Man.
Sarasota.
Last week he went off on black folks. Tonight he's going off on Indians. Man, I tell you what, this guy, hashtag me too.
Harlem shows up.
Thank you, sir.
I did attend the Civic Center. It was awesome. It was packed.
They promote it.
We told the Cougars no, and my phone exploded literally during the meeting. So that was a good meeting, though. But it is. It's just taking the government to the people. So
they can come to us.
Okay. All right, tough guy. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'll run that through the county administrator like we do everything. And then finally, there was one other thing. It was pretty important, but Commissioner Harris got me off. We had a visitor in the area. It was pretty exciting to visit with the President of the United States. I really thank y'all for allowing me the opportunity to serve in my capacity as President of the Florida Association of Counties. I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but I actually had the honor of hosting the Secretary of Agriculture for the United States of America as well, a little bit preceding the President's visit. Mr. Sonny Perdue came to Hendry County. He had a great couple days. He wanted it to be a low-key meeting. It was a very good time for him to understand exactly what we're about from an agriculture perspective, how we embrace all of those different facets, and how much that lake means to us. I was pleasantly surprised to be able to sit with him and have a very direct and formidable conversation about some of the struggles that we have with Lake Okeechobee and constantly being pitted, against the coastal communities or against the environment, and how there's such a misnomer when you look at 97 to 99% of the flow into the lake comes from the north end. The lake can fill up 6 times faster than we can empty it. And it's just, those are sexy tag phrases that we could utilize, but we don't have the marketing instrument that the other environmental entities that absolutely despise what we stand for in this region have. So, they have bumper stickers that says toxic water sucks and send the water south and, blue-green algae killed my dolphin and all this stuff. And we get it. And nobody's making light of that, but it's such a bigger animal than what we are. And to be able to have an audience with the two people that we had I think that's amazing. And so it was really an awesome opportunity to see our kids, our school children, be able to see the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America, arguably the most powerful man on the planet, drive over the Herbert Hoover Dike after he gets out of Marine One. He gets in his motorcade, he comes down, and he gives a thumbs up to our babies. That was pretty dadgum dynamic. And so I got to talk to the president face to face. It was an awesome experience, and I just want to thank y'all for allowing me to be in this position and those opportunities. And thank you to the voters of Hendry County as well for allowing that opportunity to occur. So that's it in a nutshell, Mr. Chair. Big nutshell. I believe y'all have an education process that's coming up, or did y'all just have one for ACC or
We
certified?
have one Thursday and Friday.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. Awesome. Thank y'all.
Okay, really all I have is, thank you, staff, Shane, for spending the day with us the other day and getting this moved forward with the city. I believe that's going to be a joint effort that we can do a lot more in. We've talked about getting with the city of Clueless and the city of LaBelle for the last 2 years, and I know we've got a little bit of footway here on this side, but the other side has been a closed door. But now the door is open, so we're actually moving forward. So I believe hopefully that's something we can come to in our legislative action. We'll have more of a regional ask maybe, rather than all of us fighting over different stuff and things like that. Do you want me to announce that?
I sure do.
I'll do it. Ms. Bird just passed the phone over. So Amnesty Week, April 22nd through the 27th. This is for the unincorporated residential waste only. So if you have that, there's going to be, this will be out on our website, I'm sure. The Hendry County website, you'll be able to see it there. And so make sure you tell everyone about that, April 22nd through the 27th. And again, the staff's done a great job. I thank y'all very much. Tommy, we had some issues with the garbage the other day. I thank you for chiming in on that. You helped get that situated, so thank you for your efforts in that. Just got to keep moving forward. The constituents, they deserve the best. That's what we were up here to do, to represent them and make sure they're getting the best quality they can get. That's the reason we are here. So thank y'all very much, and that's really all I have. Anybody have anything else? Meeting adjourned.